right, welcome back. So things are going pretty good. We can display post. We can, show which author made it. So if I was signed in as one of my other fake people here, so let's say I signed in as, I will sign in as Keegan this time. Keegan's currently 5. So this is a Keegan post. Really need to update his picture. He's a baby in that picture. He's quite a bit bigger these days. So things are working great. The problem that we have now is we're loading all post all the time. And that's fine for this demo app. It's really no big deal. But we do kind of want to think about what happens when we get millions of users, right? We don't want to load a million posts on the page. The page won't load, right? It's like hours to load your page. Fortunately, all your users would leave you before you got that big. But we need to prepare for having many, many, many posts. So we want to pick some number of posts to load, and then we'll just have like a simple load more button. There's all sorts of different ways to have load more features, but we're just going to have a load more button down here. And you definitely need to think about that as you're trying to build scalable apps. So what we need to do is we need to go learn a little bit more about only getting so many from Firebase. So we can go over to the Firebase docs. Looks like I don't have a good link, so I'm going to use my Angular Fire 2 setup link and click on the docs at the top here. And you can see that there are all kinds of docs in here. And what we need to do is we need to learn more about querying. So the way querying works is you say, db.list, like we've done many times. You say what path you want to be on. We've done that many times. And then here's the new part. You can actually pass in another parameter, which is an object, which has the key query. And then that key query can have things in it called query options. And there's a bunch of different query options. And so you can kind of scroll through here. And the one that we want is we want to limit to last. So we're going to get just the newest however many. So that's what we want to go do, is we want to limit to only so many. So our post stream, which is set up right here, it's got the post path on it. We want to also stick onto this guy an object which has a query key. So it's kind of like you're passing in an object which has a query key. And then query is itself an object, which is kind of funny, which has options in it. And it's kind of nice. It does auto-completion for us. This is what's really neat about TypeScript. It's able to figure out what our options are here, which is cool. So we're going to say limit the last, 4 for now. So let's make sure that you've got at least 4 quotes. So I'm going to go ahead and sign back in as Dave. And you can just put on a bunch of quotes. So I'm just going to put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've just kind of got some numbers here to make it easy to see. And so if we were to add this limit to last 4, what should happen is it should now limit us to only the last 4 posts. So 3, 4, 5, and 6 made the cut, and nobody else. Obviously, we don't want to have a hard-coded 4. We'll just go ahead and make another read-only variable up here. And I'm actually going to call it post batch size, because I'm going to start getting them in this size chunks, right? So this is going to be my this dot post batch size. So I'm going to get kind of like this many at a time. You want to add a trailing comma because I'm a trailing comma kind of guy. Great. So how do we change the post batch size? Obviously we could change it to 8 right there, but that's not really what I'm talking about. So that will successfully show 8 now. But I want to have a button that I can click that will load more post. Let's go ahead and do the HTML first. Let's go ahead and make that button first for what I want. Well, we kind of got 2 options for what we could do him. We could do him in the post list component, or we could do him in main. We could do him after the post list component. It really doesn't matter what you do. I'm going to be lazy, and I kind of want him to appear in this card. And the way I've currently got it set up is the card is actually inside the post list. So I'm going to go into my post list HTML, and I'm going to put the button here so that it can easily show up inside the card. I kind of feel a little guilty about that because in theory it should probably be up a layer, but I'm going to let it ride this time. So my button, I'm going to make a little div to kind of hold my button for me here. And the reason I'm making this little div is because I want to put some flex layout rules on it, and I want it to be right justified. So I'm just going to say, hey, put it over at the end, and then sure, keep it centered. I don't really care about the centering there. And this is going to be a button. We're going to use an MD raised button. And what the heck, I'll give it a color of primary. And when you click it, it's going to have to tell the post service that, hey, I want more post, right? So we'll just say post service, and you've got to think, do I have access to the post service? Well, I've used it up here, so I must. And we're going to call a method that doesn't exist yet. And I'm just going to go ahead and call it display more post function call. So I probably ought to go make that function at some point. I'm just going to have that be on my clipboard if I ever want this thing to work. But I'm going to go ahead and finish my button first. And I'm just going to have it say load more post, and then close up my button. You can make your HTML flow a little better here. I'll just kind of do it like that just because I feel like it. And we'll save it up and we'll see what it looks like. So now I should have a load more post, and it's showing up in my primary color. It's funny, I haven't used my accent color at all. Maybe I should try my accent color if you just want to see what that looks like. And it doesn't really matter to me. I think the accent color looks fine too. It just doesn't matter. So load more post, if you were to click it, it's going to crash. And that's because we're calling this function display more post for the post service, which does not exist. So below add over here, let's put on display more post. So what we want to do here is we want to change the query parameter that is right here. So in order to change the query parameter, what we could do, let's just kind of talk for a little bit, is we could make this a variable. We could call this variable numPost. If we had it be a variable called numPost, we could say numPost equals numPost plus the batch size, right? So it'd get more post. The problem with that is that the stream has already been made, right? So the stream already got made. So if I change the variable, the stream won't know about it, right? Because that's how variables work. There's a couple solutions to that problem. One is we could remake the stream with the new value for the new variable, and that would work fine. So I could take everything that's in the constructor here, I could put it into a function. I could say recreate streams, and that would work. But that's not what we're working on this time. What we're working on this time is how do we embrace streams? How do we take over this mantra of everything is a stream? So we're going to implement some more streams. And so what we want is we want a stream that we can drop in how many more posts we want. So we're going to have a stream for how many more posts do you want? So it's going to fire up, hey, I want 4 more, I want 8 more, I want 4 more, I want 4 more. Then we're going to have another stream that says how many total posts have been requested. And then that stream is going to just accumulate whatever the first stream is firing. And then that stream is going to feed into this stream to update how many to display. Let's get into it, and then it'll kind of start making a little bit more sense. It's going to be really neat. So let's start at the bottom. We'll kind of work our way up here. And so the first stream that we're going to want, it can be a private stream, nobody needs outside this function, is going to be our post increment stream. And it's going to be a stream that we kind of make from scratch, right? So it's not coming from a Firebase list observable. It's going to be a new thing that we make from scratch. And in RxJX land, the stream that I find easiest is a subject. So subjects are nice because you can subscribe to them. You can also put things in them. And it's kind of like if you're a Java developer, you know how you say something is a list, it conforms to the list interface, but then when you really make it, you make it an array list. We're going to use that same concept. So here's what we're going to do. Inside the constructor, we're going to say this dot post increment stream is equal to new behavior subject, which is kind of a little bit different. And this behavior subject is going to fire off numbers. And you have to say, what's the first value in this stream? And the first value is going to be our post batch size. It says I don't know what behavior subject is, so we have to import that. Behavior subject, what is this? It's a stream, just like everything else is a stream. Behavior subject has certain properties on it, which I like, and that is there's always at least one value that's the most recent value. And so when you construct it, you have to say, hey, what's the most recent value? And so by default, it's 8. I'm going to change it back to 4 just so I can see my chunks better. And then what I can do is this post increment stream, I can put new things into the water easily for it. So for display more post, I'm going to say this dot post increment stream dot next. And the way you put something into the water is you say dot next. And we'll just always put in our batch size, right? So it's going to be a stream. It's going to fire 4. You press the button again, it fires another 4. You press it again, it fires another 4. You press it again, it fires another 4. Firing 4s is exciting. It's not exciting. We need another stream to kind of accumulate them. Again, there are easier ways that we could do this, but we want to learn about streams. There's an operator called scan that you can use. And what scan does is scan is an accumulator. So if somebody fires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've got a scan of that, the scan fires the running total. And so that's what we want to do here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say const. So we're making it as a local variable because we only need access to it here. So this is going to be num post stream. And he is going to be equal to this dot post increment stream dot scan. And of course it says, hey, I don't know what scan is. And that's because of the ridiculous import system that you have to use. Scan. Now I'll probably know what scan is better. And what this thing is going to ultimately fire is numbers. So you could say it's going to fire numbers. And it's going to have a fat arrow in here. Oh, I could also say what this thing is. It's an observable which fires numbers. And so scan here. So I'll go ahead and put scan on a new line just to kind of like make it wrap a little better. Receives a fat arrow, and what scan receives is it receives the previous total, which is a number, and then the current value, which is also a number. And then all it does is it returns the previous total plus the current value, right? And then just to kind of learn more about things, let's do a little CLG of, so we'll just say scan. So prior is previous total. Current is current value. So current value should always send off 4s, right? So it still says scan does not exist. So I've got to figure out how to get scan to import, right? So I went and did a quick internet search, and I guess it's add operator, which that kind of makes sense. I don't know if that really makes sense. But I looked it up, and it seems to have imported scan now. Where'd it go? Yeah, right there. So it's not complaining, but I haven't actually tested to see if it works. So here's what we've done so far. So I'm going to make some space here. We've got this post increment stream. We're able to put things in the stream quite easily for it, 4, 4, 4, 4. And then here we've got a total, which should be adding up those 4s and putting them together, and everything is a stream. One, I don't know if this is an annoying issue or not, is that you won't see this console log print unless somebody is subscribed to you. So what we've got to do is we've got to say post increment stream dot subscribe. Subscribe receives a fat arrow function. So it's just going to be, this is like the num post, which is a number. And then we'll just put a CLG in here that says to do display num post post. It's funny how sometimes they use string interpolation. This, since I know it's going to get deleted, I just kind of use string concatenation. So what this should do is whenever I click it, it should say scan and prior and current and all that, but then it'll say to do display, and then it'll say, should hopefully say like 4 and then 8, and so on and so forth. So right here off the bat, it says display 4 post. That's exactly what you expect for a behavior subject, because it starts with a value of 4, which we put into the constructor. And when I click this, it says prior was 4, current is 4, and it says display 8. And then I click it again, it says prior was 8, now I'm displaying 12, and the pattern looks good. So 12 went up to 16. So I've got a stream here, which is just a value that's incrementing, right? I'm trying to sell you on streams, and I feel like I'm not selling you on it. But since we've got a stream, and that was just for testing, right? So this is for testing only. Now that we've got a stream, what we can do is we can use that stream with other streams. So streams go together well. So what we want to do is we now want to use that post stream to influence, the num post stream to influence the value that's in here. So how do we do it? Well, the first thing we do is we comment out what we had before, because we're going to make something new. And the new thing we're going to make is we're going to say this dot post stream is equal to this dot num post. So the num, it's actually not a this dot, it's just num post stream dot switch map. So we're learning about something else that's new. So switch map, what does switch map do? So switch map, it looks like I don't have a link for it. But what it does is it's similar to a map in that it takes in one type of stream and it gives you a different type of stream in the output. But what switch map does that's different is it actually makes kind of like an internal stream in addition. Let's just see it. But what it's going to do is it's going to take something that's a number to start with, and then it's going to output a new stream which returns post arrays. The type has now also changed. So it used to be a Firebase list observable, which was up here, but it's no longer a Firebase list observable. In fact, it's now something that's different to the point that you could just call it a different name if you wanted. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of my post stream altogether. I'm just going to blow it away. So it's gone. That's going to break add, which is a pain. So now I'm going to fix add. So this is just like a little tangent. So I've got to do add another way. Personally, I would rather just do add with the standard Firebase SDK now that it's kind of like its old stream went away. And the way that I would do it here is I'd say firebase.database.ref.child this dot the post path dot push post. So there, that guy is now implemented without needing the post stream. That was just so I could safely get rid of the post stream. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new internal variable, and I can call it the post stream, that's fine. But now he's just a plain old observable that fires off post arrays. And he's a switch map of the num post stream. And so this switch map, of course, is a function call like that, and it needs a fat arrow function inside of him. And just to make my number of lines more reasonable, I'll bring him down to the next line. So this fat arrow function, it receives a num post, which is of course just a number, and it returns something different. And the thing that it returns is it returns an internal stream. So this internal stream is going to use db.list post path query, but here's the trick. Instead of using the post batch size, it's going to use num post. And then there's mismatching curly braces, which is why it's just so angry here. A little extreme on its anger level. So I need to close up that one, and I need to close up that one, and then I need to put a semicolon on, and then I need to auto format. So you can think about the curly braces to your heart's content. But we are wanting to learn about RxJS. And what we've done here is we've taken this num post stream, we've done a switch map on it, which lets you kind of make an internal stream. And then what we're going to send out is a stream that has the correct number of posts. Then down here, we just change the name to post stream. So now that's fixed up. And now let's go see what we've got. So now it should load more posts when we press the button, which would be kind of crazy. So I've got 4 right now. And as soon as I hit this, you can see, bingo, it worked, right? So I've got my prior total is 4, my current total, or my current value is 4, and I got 4 more posts. And then I load 4 more, and I load 4 more, and I keep trying to load 4 more, except for they've all been loaded. So we've got to fix that next time, but I think that I've got more than enough code to check it in and finish this video. My testing only, I don't think I need him anymore. My old school post stream, which was nice and simple, but it was a hard-coded limit, don't really need him anymore. My console login here, that was just kind of as I was doing development, don't need that anymore. And I think I'm ready to check it in. So I added the button, which was pretty simple. And then I learned a lot about streams. The hardest part for me is figuring out how to import scan the way they want. So much easier when you just imported the whole library, people. And I've got all the code in here that you can see does things. As long as I'm deleting things, I guess I can get rid of that. Oh, and I should test add. I may have completely broken add. So let's just go ahead and say testing the new add. Looks like it works just fine. So that's good. One less thing. So this is load more post using streams. Yes, it would have been easier without streams, but I wanted to teach you about streams. So now you know a little bit more about RxJS. All right, see you next time. Bye.